This is the show for athletes and coaches that want to succeed in sport, in business, and in life. I'm Peter Wright, and this is The Athlete's Advantage. Hello and welcome to The Athlete's Advantage. I'm sitting here with Bláithín Bogue of Fermanagh and North Melbourne here in the AFLW. She has made the big journey to Australia over the last couple of years, and she is absolutely thriving in the AFLW, scoring a bag of goals so far in the season as they top the ladder going into the latter rounds. We had a big conversation about all things Fermanagh, all things Gaelic football and all things AFLW, and now onto the podcast. Bláithín? Bláithín or Bláithín?
Bláithín.
Bláithín.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to a number of podcasts, interviews, and even spoken to some of your former teammates, and I've got a different pronunciation all the time. So you generally don't correct people then?
No, it's whatever.
How have the Aussie girls taken to it? Pretty easy?
No. I get blah blah here, which is kind of... I don't mind being called blah, but last year one of the girls called me blah blah, and then it just caught on. And then Croc, the head coach, he started calling it, and then it became a bit of a joke then. So on the pitch it's blah, but around the club they'll be like blah blah. So.
And it's gone too far now to pull it back.
Yeah.
Like that's your name now.
Yeah, that's it.
You're stuck with it. Well, look, it's not the worst to be stuck with it this season when you're going so well. You're enjoying it?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
You're scoring a few goals anyway?
Yeah, a few. It's just like, I suppose we're winning by quite a bit, so getting on the score sheets probably a bit easier when the team's scoring so much, I suppose. Like a lot of our girls are scoring lots of goals, so yeah.
You're doing the Irish thing now when you're like belittling what you're doing. Like you're scoring I think you're averaging 2 a game, are you? You've scored 3?
Yeah, I think it's average 2 now, yeah.
Yeah, like even if you're winning by a lot, that's decent scoring. Like they're going to be happy with you.
Yeah, I suppose I am a forward, so.
So you're expected. But the other thing from looking at the highlights of the goals, it seems like each of the goals are so different from each other as well. So you're scoring in multiple different ways.
Yeah, I think against Brisbane was the first game that I actually had a set shot and then ended up having 3 set shots. I wouldn't be a big free taker at home, so when it comes to set shot here, I'm a bit like, oh. And if you could give the set shot to someone else, like you do in Gaelic, I probably would give it off, but no, I think for the first one against Brisbane, you could sort of see that I was looking around to pass it off, and then one of the girls, Talia, ran past me. He was like, "Blah, you can take this." Then I was like, "Right, I'll go for it," and then went over. So the other 2, I just was like, "Oh, might as well just take them now." They're actually a bit closer, so it would have been bad if I had missed them.
So that gave you a bit of confidence then as well,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But you're kicking it the definite Aussie way with the punt kick straightforward as well. Like whereas some of the girls obviously, and I was chatting to Ailish O'Dowd last week, and she was saying they still talk about at the Giants how they couldn't teach Cora to kick it any other way than round the corner. So obviously the last year and a bit has been successful in teaching you to kick it the way that they're happy with.
Yeah, Croc was actually a big advocate of me getting the kick right. Now in play, you'd probably see I will turn around and I'll snap it, but for a set shot, I just kick it straight on. Croc was massive for making me kick properly, and even now still, like yesterday, we were kicking and he just catches glimpse of you doing something wrong, and he'd be like, "Don't be stabbing at it," or he's always correcting you. So, no, he was good for making sure, because I think he was just kind of like, when I came out, I was a blank canvas, so he could teach me the correct way to do it. And he just persisted at it, so thankfully it's worked out.
We talk about kicking a lot on this show, as you would with any Irish player taking up a new sport that involves a lot of kicking.
Yeah.
I think people probably underestimate how much kicking is actually involved in repping it to get it down when you come out here, because if you think about it from a Gaelic perspective, you might do a bit of kicking pre-training, over and back, right, left foot, round the corner, and then in the session you might have a couple of drills in which you're kicking, but you're not getting that many reps. Whereas out here you're a professional athlete, and as a forward you're kind of paid to kick. So they have you all day throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
How many reps are you getting in on a daily and weekly basis, do you reckon?
It's more like pre-season or the pre-season that you would have done more like skills. So when I came out, it was pre-season. and we would have done our running session, and then it would just been skills for say like half an hour, and it was very much like kicking back and forth. So you would have done so much kicking then. Then coming into the pre-season, obviously you would have done.
How long are you kicking for in that session, do you reckon?
Like our S&C are very strict on, like, they don't want us overdoing it because they're afraid of the likes of injuries. So like we could be kicking in lines for say 10 minutes, and then we'll go into like shift kicking where it's a bit more running involved in that. Or even like in training now, they have this thing where we're doing set shots right training, but like you have to be fatigued. So
Yeah.
it'll just be after a drill, they'll blow 2 whistles. And before training, we're given a partner, and it's like a shootout between you and a partner, and it's out of 3. And then at the end of the training, you have to put whoever scored the most. So that's like a good way of helping with the set shots because you're fatigued and you have to do it within a certain time because they'll blow a whistle and you have to be back for the next drill. So it's just little things like that. That's probably helped with the kicking and stuff. But no, I wouldn't say we overdo it now just because they are strict on us not hurting ourselves. Or even like after training, sometimes we'll do extra kicking or extra shooting, and like Vinny, our S&C coach, will be telling us to come in and telling us to stop because he doesn't want us like fatiguing and stuff like that.
So I touched on there, at home we'll do right and left. Do they bother out here?
Like it is an advantage, and they like that because a lot of the Irish girls can kick off their left, especially the snap kick. But you wouldn't see too many of the Aussies now. We have a few girls in our team that are very good at it. But yeah, they're not as pushed on it. Croc would be big on right and left handballs, but not so much the kicking. It's obviously a benefit if you can, but
It's not something you go and work on in training. It's something you might work on yourself
yeah,
outside of training.
yeah, on personal level, yeah. But
Have you enjoyed that aspect of learning a new sport? And even though your position is similar to home, like you're employed to score,
yeah,
what have been the major challenges? Obviously last year you didn't get really to play.
yeah. I suppose last year I got drafted in March 2024, and I was studying. I was in my pre-registration year, so I had an exam at the end of June, and then I had a couple of more weeks left in the pharmacy before I was actually qualified. So I think that brought me up to the end of August, and then it was only another 2 weeks if we had gotten to the All-Ireland final. So I was kind of chancing my arm and just asked, look, can I please stay for the All-Ireland final? Now this was in this was before I actually signed, and they said that was okay. So by the time I got out to Australia, it was 2 or 3 weeks before. I think it was 2 weeks before the season actually started. So I kind of put myself in the back foot from the start anyway. And then just in terms of like my actual game sense, I realised this year compared to last year how much I learnt in pre-season that I didn't know last year. And then our head coach, Croc, he's big on like a system, and I suppose I wasn't there for all the learning the systems and stuff like that. And even at the start of this year, one of the development coaches was like, look, you can have all the skills, but if you don't know the system, like Croc's not going to trust you to play the game. So I think this year was a big thing on learning the structures, learning where I'm meant to be for setups, learning running patterns. And even now still, like in all of my reviews, it is still learning about running patterns and stuff like that. So that's probably the toughest thing about the transition between the two sports. But in terms of difficulty, like last year I probably did find it difficult that I was out here and I wasn't playing. Probably was the only, I think I was the only Irish that didn't play that was available to play. Obviously we had some injuries, like Aaron had her knee and stuff, but yeah, that was tough. But probably made me work a bit harder than coming out this year. I think I was more determined to play this year. So
It seems like it's almost a little bit of a rite of passage, or like something that they do purposefully though as well, because obviously Amy is out here in her first year this year,
yeah,
and she's got a couple of appearances,
yeah,
but it's hard, I would say, to fit into a system straight away
yeah,
when you haven't been in it for a long time to
yeah,
actually know it inside out.
yeah. Well, I think like North, the Croc, I think took over maybe 5 seasons ago. So he had been building that team for 5 seasons, and a lot of the girls are there for the 5 seasons. So they've been building together. He's obviously created a system that is very obviously working. And And he does need to, like, you do want to be able to trust your players that they are going to do the system right. But like, when I was coming out to Australia, I didn't know that North, like, obviously knew North were good, but I didn't realise how good North were. I was actually chatting to, so we do scrimmages there for any of the non-selects. You go and you play like against the other teams, like you join up as teams and then you play against each other. And I was chatting to Amy Boyle from Donegal, and she was sort of similar last year, where she's sort of in the team, out of the team. And Adelaide were like one of the, I think they maybe came second overall last year, in the home and away fixtures. And we were just kind of like, God, did you know when you're coming out here that we were going to be playing for the two best teams? And she didn't realise either. So obviously when you're going home and people are like, it's nearly like an Irish pride thing where you kind of feel a bit embarrassed going back and people being like, well, how'd you get on? Did you get any games? You're like, no, I didn't get games. But like, you're not going to be like, no, I didn't get games, but I'm playing for the team that won. So I suppose that bit was kind of hard.
I think it's a GA thing that, and it runs through, if you're not starting in Gaelic football or hurling, you think, or camogie for that matter, you think you're almost not as valuable as somebody that is.
Yeah.
Whereas it's changing now at home as well, in that like it's a team game.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't say if you got on in the interchange here that you were any less valued than somebody that started the game. Like it's effectively the same thing. Like because the game is so taxing.
Yeah.
You need to use those players in off the bench in order to make an impact. Whereas at home, if you're not 1 to 15, like oh, you were only a sub is often said a lot of the time. So it's completely normal.
Well, the thing is here, like, whether you're interchange or whether you're starting, it actually doesn't matter, because everyone gets the same. Like, some weeks you're starting on, some weeks you're starting off, and I don't know if there's any logic behind it. It's just the way it is, but you're still getting the same. Like, every forward has the same. You're playing around 70% game time, so it's no like you're starting, you're not starting. It's just everyone's playing. I think that's kind of the hard thing as well, that if you are a sub at home, if a game is more suited to you, they might be like, right, okay, we'll throw Bláithín on here now. Whereas out here, you either make the 21 squad or you don't. And there's no, suppose you can be an emergency, but like once the game starts, an emergency can't be used. Whereas in the men's, there's a sub. So they can throw you on, but yeah, it's different in the ladies.
Yeah, but at home, because you have so few subs as well, if you get taken off, you know you're not going back on. You almost take it like, I'm only getting taken off here because I was playing badly.
Yeah.
Whereas it's changing. That's not necessarily always the reason you're taken off. As you said, somebody on the bench might be better suited to the way the game is going.
Yeah.
They are talking about increasing the amount of subs being used in Gaelic games. I know Jim McGuinness and Desi were talking about it after the Dublin and Donegal game in the league last year, because there were so many injuries with the new rules in the male game. Look, I think even if they changed rules that allowed more subs, a lot of managers still wouldn't use them, because there's some managers that still don't use all their subs because in their day you weren't brought on. Like the team that started finished the game. So
well, there's even some managers that'll take someone off and then put someone back on again, and that's a bit. If you're a sub in that team and you aren't getting on and someone else is getting taken off and put back on again,
not great, no.
No.
Although all of it comes down to communication, and it sounds like out at North, the coaches are very good in terms of communication and being clear with you guys about your role, the strategy, the system, what they see for you in the future, what they want to get out of you and what you need to improve on as well.
Yeah, like I would say last year, do you know, when I wasn't getting game time, they were very much like, look, we see you as a player in years to come. And like, even there were stages where like the assistant head coach like had pulled me aside and was like, you know, like, you need to show that you do know the system a bit more, because he's like, I think that you're really going to have an impact this year. And like, I do think it probably another Irish thing, whereas I'm very much like won't ask for help or don't like to be seen to be like nearly sucking up or like an ass. So I was like, I did a lot of practicing practicing my ball drop, practicing my bounce, where like in the back room where no one could really see me. And then you weren't really showing the coaches that you were trying hard and stuff like that. So I think this year I was kind of like needed like a better approach to being like, look, I actually want to be out here. I want to learn. I want to get better. Where I was very much just taking things as they come sort of thing, rather than putting myself out there a wee bit more.
you were almost waiting for them to make a decision on you and waiting for them to come to you rather than going to them.
Yeah, probably.
And would the Australian players be completely different to that? They would.
Well, I even think like I did have girls that would have helped, like Kate Shearlaw and Emma Carney would have been very good at like giving me instructions and helping me, and to me that was like enough. Like I was like, oh, like I am getting help. Like there's girls helping me. Like we would have done scrimmages and them two girls would have gotten their laptops and viewed the scrimmages and told me what I needed to be doing different. So in my head I was like, oh, I am learning, but maybe they didn't see that I was like going above and beyond or something like that. And also I was like, I want to be picked for my football and that sort of way.
Yeah, but they'll be more aware of your football if you're making an active effort to be seen by being inquisitive and asking the right questions and whatnot. And it might be a case that that's just not your personality. Like you might be just a little bit quieter and somebody that's a little bit learn by doing and just observes things rather than very vocal.
Well, in our exit meeting, I think Croc kind of said that he was like, I want you to want more out of your football. And then I just said, like, it's just not in my, I was like, I don't know if it's just a me thing, but I was like, I don't ask for help and it's not sort of in me to go after that sort of thing. And then he was kind of like, but that's what I want for him. Once I knew that's what he wanted from me, then I was like, right, okay, I need to sort of change my mindset.
Are you getting better at it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it is one of the things like in pre-season where he said, I am noticing that you are like looking to improve, and it's not that last year I wasn't looking to improve, but I just wasn't asking for help. Whereas now if I'm like sort of struggling with something, I'd be like, look, Rock, I actually don't understand what you're saying here. Will you sit me down? And maybe a lot of it last year was I didn't know what I didn't know because I'd missed so much of the pre-season that like it was like a different language to me. Something like even some of the words that they're using and stuff, and I was nearly embarrassed to be asking for help. And that is like, I'm just kind of person I am. Like in school, if I was struggling with something, I wouldn't ask the teachers. I'd just try to go home and teach it to myself.
Yeah, but coming out to a new country, learning a new sport, it's completely normal if you don't know some of the terminology, some of the rules, some of the strategy.
Yeah.
Like, I think Niamh McLaughlin said a similar thing in that, like, she was really embarrassed initially because she gave away 3 free kicks for stupid penalties that, like, an Aussie player wouldn't make.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if she hadn't have done that, she wouldn't have learned the rules.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's normal you're not going to know it, but you're not going to know until you ask as well as the other thing. It sounds like you've got more comfortable with asking now, which is fantastic. But like, it sounds like from that conversation, your exit meeting, he's now more aware that, look, this is my personality. I'm like this. I'm going to make an effort to be more the other way, but don't think I'm not interested in being better just because I'm not vocal and just because I'm not asking questions. So that's a positive for him.
Yeah.
And like, you're playing now as well, so it must have worked. Like, but maybe it does take a year to kind of get a grasp with it. Like from chatting to Dana there, like her first year, she wasn't comfortable out there at all. She felt like she wasn't the player she could be. She wasn't the player she was at home, which was very hard for her to navigate. Year 2, she started to feel a lot more confident, but still as though she was still learning her trade. And now in year 3, she's really, like, all her hard work's coming to fruition. She feels comfortable out there. She feels like she's an asset to the team, and she feels like she's making the right decision more often than not. And it's funny, like, obviously in preparation I was looking at her stats and your stats as well, but her stats, handballs was really high in season 1, meters made was really low, kicks was really low, and then you just see this linear progression of all of those going up, as well as fantasy points going up because of number of possessions going up. And it seems to be a commonality amongst all the Irish girls coming out here. You have the privilege that in your year 1 everything's 0 and then this year,
we'll call it a privilege.
your fantasy points have been quite high. And like, looking at your stats, there were a couple of really standout games for you, like that Brisbane game. Like, you didn't really put a foot wrong. Now maybe you'll tell me that you did make some mistakes, but like, you were up the top of the ladder, I suppose, in terms of the points that you were outputting.
No, definitely still making many mistakes. It's like just sometimes it goes against instinct. So like a lot of time I like to run to the space, whereas like to Croc or to the Australians, they're thinking I'm chewing up my space, and I'm thinking like, well, if I don't run here, how do they know that I want the ball? Or Croc's like, you need to be patient, like, and point, and they know to kick it there. And I'm like, but how do they know that I want it? So it's just things like that. Like you could be getting on the ball more, but because you're nearly running yourself out of position, you aren't getting on the ball as much. Like last week I was playing as a tall forward, because Vicky had actually injured her elbow, so she was missing. We usually interchange for like hybrid forward, so we go between tall and small. And so I was a tall for the whole game, and God, I just want to forget about that game. But then like went to Croc yesterday, because we review every game, and like he was able to pick positives out of it, and just was like, look, if you did that, you would be getting on the ball more. So just like reinforcing things that he has been saying, but sometimes it's easier said than done.
Yeah, but you have to remember as well, he understands that you were almost filling in a position that you don't know as well as Vicky might know. Like, so if he's aware of that and you've still done not that bad a job, like some good things. Well, he got some positives out of it, and he knows the game better than both of us. So if he's pulling positives, there must have been something positive there for sure. But I'm interested, like, because just to reflect back on what you opened with in regards to running lines and running patterns, can you explain to me like what is different in terms of the running lines, the running patterns out here, similar to what you just touched on there in regards to not chewing up your space and going to the space to look for the ball?
Yeah. I suppose with obviously the round ball, like when we're looking the ball out into space, like it can bounce to us and bounce up into our chest, whereas like in AFL you're nearly needing the ball to go to you. So when I'm running out looking for the ball, they need to hit a pin perfect pass for me to get it. Whereas if I wait a second and then let them kick it and draw me into the kick, then I can react faster to my opponent because I know where I want the ball to be. But when I keep leading out, my player knows I'm leading out wanting the ball there, so then that gives them a chance to like, spoil the ball or whatever. And it just leaves the kick harder for the girl kicking it to you. And then also the further you lead out, like the wider you are, the further you are from the goal. And obviously with the tackling and stuff in AFL, like it's not in Gaelic where you can just get the ball, maybe throw a dummy and in away you are. Like, God, you can get humbled quickly by getting wrapped up. And
Vicky's been throwing a few dummies in though, and a few side steps.
Yeah,
so it's been working.
yeah.
And Niamh Mack said to me when I was up there last year that like throwing in a sidestep here, it often works because they're not expecting it because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
And then from watching you've gotten behind a few times on almost a backdoor cut.
Yeah.
Is that something that they do encourage or try to practice, or is that your own innate Gaelic football coming out?
I think I would have taken that from Gaelic, but like in the pre-season, that was one of the things Croc was like we think you'll get out the back a lot this year. And I was sort of telling him that we call it the backdoor cut at home. And he liked that terminology. But yeah, it's just because you press up quite at home, like the backs kind of stay in the back line, whereas here you follow the ball up the pitch. So when they do kick it out the back, like if you're kind of reading the ball quicker than your opponent, then you have all that space to run onto the ball. No.
Getcha. It's also making sense to me now why, if they, that camera that they do behind the goal sometimes, and you'll see like whoever's in full forward and with the backs on them, they stay in until the kick is about to be made, and then they give like an actual shove to the back to try to put them off balance, and then they bolt for it. So it now makes sense why they wouldn't be just going to space straight away. Yeah,
but that's what I find it just goes against instinct not to run for the ball.
Yeah, and often you'll see as well, like there'll be like six of ye in like the backs and the forwards in almost like a huddle before you break, which is similar, I guess, to football, but it does seem like the break happens far later than it would, obviously, in football. Interesting, for sure. There's definitely a lot to learn that people probably don't estimate when they're coming out,
Yeah.
number one, and then back home thinking, sure, it's an easy game. You just launch it up the pitch and then
Yeah.
kick it through the posts.
And then some days you think, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of it, and then the next game you play, and you're like, oh my god. Like, and you're waiting for that text on a Wednesday to see if you've made the squad again.
It's easier when you're winning though, as well, as the other thing.
Yeah, I suppose it is, but you can still make mistakes when you're winning. And that's the good thing about North as well. Like, we won a game by, I think it was 100 points a couple of weeks ago, and there was still like maybe about 4 or 5 clips where like, we didn't do this right, and we need to fix that for the next game.
And that's why you're successful,
Yeah.
because you're brutally honest, I guess, in
Yeah.
what needs to change to achieve the perfect game, which is never going to happen, but
No.
you're trying to improve all the time. Big Irish contingent.
Yep.
And there always has been. Has that made it a lot easier?
Yeah, definitely. Just even last year, I found, when you did feel like you were missing home a bit, or like there's times when, like, it's only natural when you're not getting playing, you're kind of like, why am I out here? Feeling like I'm getting nothing out of it. And then, like, at the likes of, like, I got upset to Vicky one time, and she was like, she was good for it. She let me be upset, and then I was like, but right, what are you going to do that's going to, make yourself have a better experience or something like that, or how are you going to improve? So, yeah, just like a really good friends, all the Irish girls. Be friends for life, I think. So, yeah, good to have them.
Makes it easy as well, I'm sure, living with them.
Yeah, definitely.
You get quite close with people that potentially you wouldn't have been close with prior to that. Like, you went to uni in Queen's, so the first time you came across all of the girls would have been coming out here, yeah?
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have come up against them with Fermanagh either.
No. No, they're all in the higher divisions.
So did you talk to them before you came out? Was there much conversing over and back?
It's actually really random, but so I lived with Niamh, Martin and Erica last year, but Niamh's parents used to live in New York and were really good friends with my auntie and uncle in New York. So she knew that I had got drafted before it was even announced, because my uncle had got on to her parents. So I'd been back and forth to Niamh a lot. And then, actually, funny enough, Anya McDonough's mum was also really good friends. So it was weird that they're all out in Australia at once and they're all in New York at once. But yeah, no, it's back and forth to Niamh quite a bit before coming out. And because I came out a bit later, Niamh actually had a lot of things sorted for me, like bed clothes and stuff like that. So yeah, it was nice.
Was there still nerves in coming out initially, or was it a lot easier given that you kind of had that touch point with Niamh out here already?
No, I was definitely nervous. Suppose you didn't really know what you're coming out to. Obviously knew that Niamh was obviously a very nice girl, but just in terms of like personalities and stuff, you didn't know like where you going to get on as well as we did. And likewise with Erica and Vicky, and obviously Amy this year. But I was coming obviously at the back of an All Ireland, and there was a bit of drinking done between the days of me winning the All Ireland and leaving. So, yeah, I suppose emotions were probably a bit heightened then with the alcohol wearing off.
Is it harder to come out after winning an All Ireland with Fermanagh, do you think? Like, because you're like, oh God, am I making the right decision here? We're after winning. Like,
Yeah.
I'm moving to another country to learn a new sport. Maybe I should stick around and try and go one better, stay in intermediate, or else get
Yeah.
promoted from Division 4.
Yeah, well, I'd always planned to come back and play with Fermanagh anyway. Suppose I was leaving on a high. Like, if I had lost the All Ireland, it would have been an absolute pit. So no, I had happy memories leaving. And then obviously came back and played with Fermanagh. Thought I was going to get to stay for the league final and the Ulster Championship, but I actually dislocated my shoulder. And that's why I had to come out early, because I thought I was going to have to get an operation. But I put off the operation until the end of the season. So, yeah, so I was rushed. I had dislocated my shoulder, and within 2 weeks I was out in Australia. So it was actually nearly harder leaving this time round than it was last year. I was just really enjoying life at home, football, work, obviously my family and friends. So yeah, it was very hard to leave this time round.
But there'll always be an excuse as well to not come out. Like,
Yeah.
and like, they're valid excuses, I
Yeah.
guess, in that like you're pursuing pharmacy and you had to finish your exams, and then Fermanagh win the All Ireland, and
Yeah.
then families at home and whatnot. But it's also a huge opportunity out here as well that I'm sure it sounds like you're enjoying,
Yeah.
and that the whole reason you got on a plane was to see what you can do, I guess. So
Yeah.
what you can do is score goals, clearly.
Well, up until now, we'll not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, obviously, like it was an opportunity that I probably wouldn't have passed up. But you still feel a bit of guilt as well. Like I was devastated when I couldn't play. No, I wasn't going to be able to play the league final anyway because the shoulder wouldn't have been right to play. But like even like the Ulster Championship, like I haven't played intermediate with Fermanagh. And it felt like we had the team to win an Ulster Championship, even in All Ireland. And the girls, they really were not far away. Like I was watching here, and God, they were so close. Beating Tyrone in the Ulster, never mind the All Ireland, and then sure Tyrone went and won the All Ireland. So you're also thinking then like, oh, do we have like, will I feel the same guilt next year?
But it's also probably a little bit more challenging for you, given how small circles are in Fermanagh GAA.
Yeah.
Like very close knit. Dara's always given out, well, not given out, but saying and bringing up that like they have to put highlights up because they're trying to get more people to go to the matches, and that's the men's team.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd imagine the ladies' team are in the exact same predicament. Then you come out here, you're playing with North, you're top of the ladder, and every single game is televised.
Yeah.
Like, big contrast there.
Yeah, but like there is a big contrast, but at the same time, like I think the girls within Fermanagh, like obviously it's lovely to get exposure, but like we're not really playing because of the exposure. Like we're playing because we enjoy it. Like the group of girls that I play with from Fermanagh, like I love every single one of them. We get on, could sit beside any of them in the dressing room. And that probably was the hardest thing about leaving them was they were genuinely like all of them would be my best friends. Like, even the management got on very well with them. Yeah, like I don't think we're playing because we want to be seen to be playing. We're just playing because we enjoy it, and that was the hardest part about leaving. Is felt like we had the team to win an Ulster Championship, and
I think Dara's point as well is more so for them to try and get up into Division 2, they need to win all their home games in the league, and they need to make their home a fortress a little bit. And when they're not getting the numbers or the support at home that probably, not that they need, but that they want, then it's not going to be as intimidating for opposition teams coming in.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, they still have that intrinsic want and desire. Jesus, believe me, like I had to try and talk them out of playing with a spinal fracture there a couple of weeks ago. It's definitely there, but like you come out here and it's just there are still issues in regards to trying to get people to games and whatnot, but every game can be watched at home, almost like your family at home can watch you play for North more than they were able to if they weren't at the game see you play for Fermanagh.
I suppose like it is a professional sport at the same time, and like it's not professional at home, so there is more money involved, so they can televise it. And then obviously, well, the LGFA want to grow the LGFA as well, but the AFLW really want to grow their sport, so the more people are seeing it, the bigger it's going to get.
And the AFL want to grow the AFLW, whereas LGFA and GA are separate at the moment.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a factor. Has it changed your approach to performance or playing at all, given that like there's more eyes on the sport out here than there is at home?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Are you enjoying it as much as you do at home?
Yeah, I enjoy like don't get me wrong, like the atmosphere is cool, and it is an experience to like run out under a banner and stuff like that. And even my mum and dad were out there a couple of weeks ago, and Dad was like, it really is a spectacle. But like I enjoy both sports, so if there was a crowd there, if there wasn't a crowd there, I still would want to play.
And you'd still want to score.
I still want to score, yeah.
Does that factor into you, like, how you determine if you've been successful in your performance? Like you said, not to talk about last week. If you get in the score sheet, does it change like how you perceive your performance?
No, I feel like maybe at home I probably would have thought that, but out here, like my role, as much as I am a forward, like it's not right behind me. We want you to go out and score. it's more they want me to be pressuring, trying to keep the ball in our forward 50 so that our team in general has the chance to score. Like any amount of girls in our team can kick goals. Like, I'm just lucky that I was in the right place, right time, that I was there to kick the goals. But like, it's not like an onus on me in particular to kick them. Like, anyone can kick them. But I can be pressuring. I can be getting into the structures and things like that. Like they always say, you can control how much pressure you put on, but you can't control if the ball comes to you and you can take a shot. So no, I wouldn't really base my game on how much I'm scoring. Probably just how many tackles I get in, and to me, like, if I get more tackles in a game, I feel more satisfied than like scoring, because I know that that's what Proc would value more rather than me scoring.
You're looking at the whole then. You're looking at how was I off the ball defensively
Yeah.
and in attack as
Yeah.
well. That's refreshing from a forward
Yeah.
to hear, like, because most forwards generally would worry more about getting on the score sheet than they would about turnovers, tackles, etc. So to talk about playing as a forward then, there's 40, give or take, girls out here playing in the AFLW. The vast majority of them find themselves on the wing or in the backs. Were you always going to be a forward coming out, do you think? Is that what they told you when they recruited you?
I think they envisioned me to be a forward. Erica's actually the only Irish that is a back in our team. Like, Vicky's a forward, Niamh Martin's forward, Amy's a forward, so we're all forwards. But I think when they were drafting me, they probably seen that I was a forward at home. And then last year, I was obviously training as a forward, but we had forwards in abundance, and the back line was kind of a bit scarce. So I was like, oh, I wonder would it be better just training the back line, might get a better chance of coming on. And then I was an emergency at one game, but I was able to play the scrimmage, but they only wanted me to play half. So I was like, oh, could I play the full scrimmage? And then he was like, yes, but as a forward. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, like, of course I'm going to be a forward. But someone had obviously went back to him and be like, oh, Bláithín thinking about going in the back line. So no, that was shut down. So
Have you played as a back at home ever?
No.
No, you just wanted to play.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I'll play no matter where I'm playing.
I just think not easier, but for running patterns and stuff like that, you're coming at the ball a bit more,
Yeah.
whereas at home, as a forward out here, you're constantly having to think of your running patterns and stuff like that. So I thought maybe it might have been an easier transition.
Probably is, though, to be fair, because you're still, I know most of the girls won't mark or man mark
Yeah.
their opposition or their opponent, but the game is still in front of you, and you're still, as I spoke about with Darry Joyce, how good you are is about how bad your opponent is at playing football. If you can stop them playing football, then you've been effective in your role. So your role is to play as little football, or for them to play as little football as possible. That's more similar to being a back at home.
Yeah.
Sure, as you said, you're trying to score as a forward out here, but running patterns are different. The complete intuitive nature of going looking for space is completely different as well. So the only similarity is that you kick the ball through the posts, really. What about the physical side to the game? How have you found that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be the most physical of players. Yeah, it's something I need to work on as well. It's more like technique of being physical. Like, you know, like if a high ball's coming in, you see them like pushing and then catching ball, whereas I don't even think of doing that. I'm just trying to out jump them, and you're never going to out jump someone pushing you. So yeah, I've struggled with that side of it. In terms of like I don't feel like I'm not scared to get hurt or anything like that. Like, I'm not scared of getting tackled, or I don't mind trying to tackle people, but I'm not known for my strength out here. I'll just say that.
Yeah, but you'll get there.
Yeah.
It's year 1.5 essentially, not even 1.5, one, because you came out a little bit later. So that's something that will, for some, it comes naturally. Like Dana said, it came pretty naturally. Vicky's just back from playing rugby, so it seems to be, from watching the games, coming more naturally now for her as well. But like, it's the biggest probably standout difference between ladies Gaelic football and AFLW is the physical battle. Obviously, depending on the referee at home, if you're in any way physical, you could get blown for a free.
Yeah.
It's just something you have to probably learn to do and then learn to handle as a forward
Yeah.
out here as well. It seems like you're handling it as a forward well, but maybe the defensive side of things is something to work on.
Yeah.
I think everybody at home saw the video of your announcement. Everybody in Ireland. I know you said everybody in Fermanagh, but everybody in Ireland probably saw it. It's probably the most difficult aspect of being out here, being so far away from the family.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, I do find it tough at times. Especially around the time of the debut. Obviously, it was like I had a goal of debuting anyway, so and like didn't get playing last year. So once the debut came, obviously I was like over the moon. But then naturally, there's like a bit of a okay, what's next? Like, what am I building towards then? And I kind of felt like a bit of a low that following week. Like even after the game, like Kayla, my sister, sent me a photo of everyone sitting up watching it, and like aunties over, like my sister's boyfriend that came from Monaghan to watch the game. So I was kind of like, oh, I'd actually love to be home with them watching it. And then like after the game, like it's a massive family thing out here where everyone's families be around after the game and stuff. And then you're kind of like, then like not, I wouldn't say loneliness, but you're kind of like, oh, like I don't have family out here. And then it kind of sets in a bit. But
you do though. You have the girls, like
yeah,
that
the
you're
girl,
living with.
yeah. But we're all the same. Like after the game, we all stand together and we're just like, oh, I'd love to have a bit of family out here. But then yeah, I probably went through a bit of homesickness in the couple of weeks following that. Maybe cried a couple of times to home.
That's okay.
And then within a week or two, the flights booked. So mum and dad were out there 2 weeks ago, and they only went home there. So, yeah, it was nice to see them. But yeah, no, it's probably the toughest thing about being away is just missing my friends and family.
What did they make of the whole thing? Your whole new life out here in Australia?
Yeah, it probably settled them more knowing like they'd met all the team and stuff like that, and they thought all the girls were lovely. Thought Australia was a great country, just too far away. And then just thought the sport, like just the spectacle of it all, just thought it was such a great experience.
That's great though that they've got to come out and experience it,
Yeah.
and hopefully they'll get to come out again in the future.
No, I don't know if Kevin Bogue will ever get on a flight back to Australia again, but
They didn't like the flight then,
No,
and
I
how
didn't
long
enjoy
it
the
took
flight,
them, I
no.
suppose.
I can't imagine they'll be back.
Did they have to drive to Dublin or did they fly from Belfast?
No, Dublin.
Okay, yeah.
So all in all, it was a 24-hour trip.
I'd say it was longer, to be honest. I've
Yeah.
driven to Fermanagh a fair few times. It's
Yeah.
some trek, so it is. So, yeah, maybe if they build an airport closer, it'll be more likely that he'll
Yeah.
come back out again. But they're still watching every single game, so
Yep.
and they're obviously learning the rules now as they go as well, which is obviously something.
Well, I think there's a lot of rules. Dad even said to Croc, there's an awful lot of rules for you to be learning. But after one of the games, the dad would be very big for after a Gaelic game, telling me what I need to work on and what I did wrong, whatever. Tiernan and my brother texted me after one of the games that Dad was at, and I was like, oh, it must be nice that Dad hasn't a clue and he's not able to tell you what you've done right and wrong.
Yeah, well, Dana said the same thing, but she said her dad, even though he doesn't know, was still giving
still
her
give-
feedback,
yeah.
and now he actually knows more of the rules than she does. So
Yeah.
it might be coming if you stay out here for
Yeah.
another few years. He'll start to get a grasp of it, and he'll be back coaching you in no time. So, like, in regards to Norths, and we touched on already that, like, support and obviously facilities, resources is better out here. You guys are flying high at the top of the table, but it still seems to be, from what you said, there's still an issue around support and trying to get people to the games. Like, is that simply for the home games? Is that just with you guys, or is that kind of across the whole AFLW?
I think just across the whole of the AFLW, it's just, now obviously compared to home, it is a lot more supported. But yeah, just from chatting to Dana there, just like they're getting the similar numbers to us, usually around 3,000 at a game, and I think the AFL want 6,000 at a game to be able to bring more rounds into it. So obviously there's a bit more to go. Now I don't really know the whole ins and outs of why it's not getting supported as much. But to me, 3,000 people is a lot of people, a lot of people to be playing in front of. So it may not be for the Australian girls, but when you come from playing in front of a couple of hundred people on a Sunday league game, it does seem a lot to me.
But it probably in the early parts of the season, not that you're competing, but the men's competition is still ongoing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now with the grand final this weekend, after that, and it's a good way of doing it, it's just you guys that are going to be
Yeah.
playing. So I don't know if there is going to be an increase in attendances, but you would imagine that there will be an increase in attendances and viewing figures as well. That's why they're doing it, I guess.
Yeah, but I suppose like the games are televised as well, whereas the games at home aren't televised. So if you want to see the game, you have to go to it. Whereas, like if you don't want to go to the game, you can always stick it on the TV. Now not all of them are on the free streaming channel like Channel 7, but there are apps like KO that, and you can watch any amount of games. Like we had our game on Saturday there, and on Sunday we just spent the whole day watching the other AFLW games because it's so accessible.
So is it pretty full on at times in terms of football? I know you're in season, so
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be, but like how do you switch off away from it then?
Oh, it's quite hard. I think we talk about that a lot. Sorry,
No, good.
myself and Amy. Just that we do need to switch off from it a bit because like it's all consuming, and obviously that's the reason we're out here. With our visas we can't work either outside of football. We can only be employed by North Melbourne. And then when we are meeting people, it's other Irish people who are playing AFLW, so naturally you're going to be talking about AFL. So yeah, it can be tough, but I think we've kind of made a plan just to try to do other things outside of talking about football and doing a bit more extracurricular activities, I suppose.
Like what?
I don't know, like once in a while it gets better, a bit of sunbathing.
Yeah, raining today. I can't wait to get back to Sydney. But like that is something that is important. Like from chatting to Erica, like she's out in St Kilda now, and she said it's nice to not
Yeah,
be just talking football all the time. So obviously there's a benefit to being in a football house,
yeah,
in that you're all going through the same thing. But
Yeah.
eventually it's probably important that you branch out and
Yeah.
go experience other things. People would think as well that when you're playing against Fremantle and you're out in Perth, or if you're against the Swans or the Giants or whatever, you get to see like all different parts of Australia. But I'd
No.
imagine you're going to tell me that it's not like that at all.
no. Now, in fairness, the Brisbane game was on a Sunday, and then we didn't train again until Tuesday. So a couple of girls stayed longer. A few girls went up to the Gold Coast. My family were over, so I got to stay an extra night with them. So that was nice. I saw a bit of Brisbane, but it was Perth so far away. Like it's getting a 4-hour flight the next day, and then having training the following day is just not really good for recovery or preparation. So no, didn't get to see very much of Perth.
So touching on recovery and preparation, then it's a pity that you don't get to see much of all the places you go, but it sounds like you're turning into a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Do you think you've improved quite a bit as an athlete since you came out here?
Yeah, I suppose like it's all there for you to be recovering and things like that. Now it wouldn't have been massive for recovery at home, and even not gonna lie, here like my recoveries, Ella, one of the Australian girls I live with, she's massive for recovery. So if she says that she also is the only one with a car, so she's driving us to and from training. So if she's saying she's doing the sauna, we're all doing the sauna, or she's doing the ice bath, we're all doing the ice bath. So that's most training. So I probably am sauning and doing the ice bath. Well, not so much the ice bath, a hot bath. After training, but just even with like your water intake and things like that, or still would need to improve in that as well. But just like little things like getting your protein in. Our dietitian's very good. Like we all get checkups before start of pre-season. Get bloods done and stuff like that. So like if we need to improve our iron intake, she'll be telling us to up our meat and stuff like that. So no, it's good that way.
Does it get competitive in the house of who's going to be the best professional ever?
No, we actually share dinner around. So
Okay.
we have fan days, the days we're training, and then the days we're not training, we share it around. So no, and we don't deprive ourselves of any chocolate either. We've a couple of squares a night, so
That's what everybody's thinking at home, I suppose, that like elite level GA athletes, they'd never touch a drop of alcohol, they'd never go out for dinner, they'd never have a bar of chocolate. Like, so it's good to hear that it's pretty measured, I guess, or it's everything in small doses.
yeah, no, we're definitely not too strict on ourselves anyway.
What have you found, is there a big difference between the drinking culture between GAA or ladies Gaelic football and AFL?
I would say we're probably nearly stricter at home.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Um, like after our home games, we have like a family and friends function upstairs, and it was one of the games Dad was over, and Croc, our head coach, was chatting to him, and like there's like drink there, and he was like, oh, like we like the girls have a bit of a drink, because if you're not having fun, then what's the point, sort of thing. And Dad was kind of like, well, God, blind doesn't really like. But I'm not a big drinker anyway, so I wouldn't really be touching it during the season. And like I think there'd be no drink bans per se.
Yeah, I get you.
Like I know one of the girls would have a couple of glasses of wine a week, and she's like one of the best players, on our team. So like it doesn't have any effect on her. I think the difference is when we drink at home, whereas here they're more measured.
Yeah, it sounds like 2 glasses of wine like doesn't happen very often at home. I wouldn't say.
Whereas the girls would like to go out for dinner and a glass of wine and things like that.
But that's probably why they don't go mad on it, because there is no ban. It's just like, here, have a couple of bottles after the game. And then, as you kind of just said there, you mightn't even have them, but like, that's because you're allowed to have them if you want.
Or even like after our Essendon game now on Friday, we're having like a function, and like it's just dinner and drinks.
Are you treated like adults more out here than at home, do you think? Or is that not fair to say?
Don't know if it's fully fair to say. I don't think I'm exactly treated as a child at home, like, but I just think we know that if we go mad at the weekend, drink at the weekend, that it is going to affect our performance. So no one's going to do it. Whereas home, I feel like some coaches feel the need to put in a drink ban, and when you're told not to do something, that's when you want to do it most. So
that's the problem.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
We get rid of them. They are steadily going away, I suppose, at home, which is a positive. Well, hopefully you're able to stay off the drink till the end of the season, and you can get back there to the grand final again. Quick fire questions to finish. Yeah. Proudest achievement to date?
In a non-sporting sense, probably getting my degree, getting the pharmacy degree. In a sporting sense, those winning the All-Ireland last year with the girls. And then those debuting this year. Good one.
Favourite athlete of all time?
I don't really, I admire a lot of athletes. I wouldn't really say I have a favourite. I just love watching Gaelic football, so obviously David Clifford, probably admire him a bit, just how good he is, what he can do with the ball. So yeah, I wouldn't have a favourite athlete, but a few favourite Gaelic players.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Who has had the biggest influence over your sporting career so far?
My family, but probably mostly my dad.
Is he the first one that brought you down to play football?
Yep. So Dad would have taken the under 10s. I must have been about 3 or 4, and my brothers would have played. So I wasn't really playing, but I was always there. And then obviously having 2 older brothers, just always kicking about with them. And then once I actually started getting into football properly, there was lots of fallouts in the car journeys on the way home, but about how you played and things like that. But no, Dad's taught me a lot. So definitely him. I suppose Tiernan, my brother, Kevin, my brother, like in the backyard playing with them. Tiernan would have taken our club team a couple of years ago as well. So yeah, he would have taught me a lot too.
It's good to give him a shout out as well. I'm sure he'd be chuffed
Yeah.
with that. What's the biggest thing you've learned in the last 12 months?
Goes from September to September. There's been big growth. Obviously not playing last year. That was just being able to stick it out and maybe being a bit more resilient. Croc, our coach, always says enjoy the journey. It's obviously easier said than done, and I'm still trying to learn to enjoy the journey. But yeah, it's probably just don't take things too seriously and work hard and be a nice person, and you can't go too far wrong in life if you do that.
Some good tenets to live by. What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Probably stop worrying. So everything works out. If it's meant to be, it'll be whatever's for you won't pass you. So
Well, you mightn't have listened, but it's good that you're here
yeah,
now at this stage, and you don't seem to have any care in the world, really. Why would you? Top of the ladder, scoring goals, and thriving in Australia. So
thank you.
thanks a million for coming on, Bláithín.
Thanks, Peter.
It's going to be a joy, hopefully, to watch the rest of your season, and hopefully it comes out for you. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Boom.
Good job. Okay.